welcome to something that's obviously not out of continues. I'm your host, MultimediaJay, and yes, this is kind of a parody / spoof video. Now, I should have recorded an episode of Out of Continues with Stafax today, except as you can tell by the way I sound pretty terrible, and I feel kind of terrible too. There's been a lot of summer colds going around lately. I have no clue why. I've been calling them June bugs, actually. But anywho, all jokes aside, I hope. I've been actually helping Stafax out with his gaming podcast every so often, and I've actually had a regular series going on Out of Continues, which obviously, if you want to check out some of the previous episodes we've done, you can go to outofcontinues.com. Might as well zoom in for that one. There's your web address for you. Anyways, I've been handling some of the more edgy topics related to gaming on that show. The series we've been doing is Disturbing Trends. The last one that I did with Staffa was a show about the disturbing trends in gaming, rising game prices, where we talked about various things related to how video games have just gotten more expensive even when people had less money and stuff like that. Things like that have been going on. Whenever I can get over this weird summer cold and actually sound normal again, we're going to be recording the finale of this series, and then I'll probably make a blog entry that lists all the episodes in order if anyone wants to download or listen to the entire series. Now, what I want to do here is a little side topic to the Disturbing Trends series. It's probably not big enough to do an entire show with Staffa on, but I wanted to discuss it on my own. One disturbing trend in gaming that I've seen is the sad state of online RPGs these days. Here's a recent article from Kotaku. The headline totally caught my eye. It's time to take these old MMO games out back and shoot them. Basically, the folks who came up with the idea for this article are, like many of us who play online RPGs, admitting that online RPGs have really gotten stale. MMOs have really gotten stale. I mean, nowadays the industry basically consists of World of Warcraft and all these other games that are trying to be World of Warcraft. And the lack of an attempt at anything new and original lately is just nauseating. We had Star Wars: The Old Republic. That should have been great. That should have been great material for an online RPG. It's Star Wars, for Pete's sake. Instead, what do? We get a massive drop in subscriber numbers because what it basically turns out to be is World of Warcraft with lightsabers. And now, closer to home for me as an Elder Scrolls fan, I find out that there's an Elder Scrolls MMO, which I think is a bad idea, and the Elder Scrolls MMO is so far it's resembling World of Warcraft in an Elder Scrolls universe. And I think it's somewhere in here. The point that please stay. I'm going to post a link to this article, but there's a line in there that makes a very good point about this whole issue with World of Warcraft. You know, companies shouldn't be trying to make clones of World of Warcraft or make the next World of Warcraft, because everybody who wants to play World of Warcraft is already playing World of Warcraft. That's the way it is. I mean, make something new and original. Yeah, like the picture says, enough! What are you gonna do? Here's a similar article on Kotaku about the Elder Scrolls MMO that's recently been announced. First, Elder Scrolls Online details make it sound like just another fantasy MMO. Yeah, Elder Scrolls, as much as it would be cool to have Elder Scrolls Online, the very things that make MMOs fair and balanced and stuff like that, you know, like the endless buffs and nerfs and making sure nobody's ever all that much more powerful than anybody else so that you don't go around griefing everybody, all of these things basically mean that what makes an Elder Scrolls game good cannot exist in an MMO. Like in most Elder Scrolls games, you can become a larger-than-life, legendary, like, superhero-type character, and then afterwards you can mod the living daylights out of the game. How in the world are you going to do that with an MMO? I think that the folks at Bethesda haven't thought outside the box enough here. or should I say they're trying too hard to make some kind of online Elder Scrolls game. Really, a better option would be to just add LAN and internet-based multiplayer to their existing games, or make their next Elder Scrolls game have a multiplayer option, kind of like a Neverwinter Nights or something like that. So I can mod a game, so I can mod the heck out of my Elder Scrolls game, and then invite my friends to come play with me. Or make it open to the public, and people can come in and play my heavily modded Elder Scrolls, and they can have a downloader that syncs the mods up and stuff like that. But not an MMO. I don't think Elder Scrolls and MMO are going to go together. I think it's going to be more like oil and water if they do that. Here's every other MMO/online RPG, etc. that I've tried playing besides World of Warcraft. And the only one of these that I'm even still playing on a regular basis today is Ion, because Ion has gone truly free to play. And I'm checking it out, and I'm actually finding it a bit more enjoyable now that it's switched business models. But all these other games I've tried at some point. EverQuest II is free to play as well, but I reinstalled that just to check it out, and I think I'm going to keep playing Ion in terms of free to play online games. But you wonder why this industry consists of World of Warcraft and everybody trying to copy them. Well, some of these other games that never become the next World of Warcraft, never become the next World of Warcraft for various reasons. So let's go through these games and talk about them here. First, Ion, the WoW killer from Asia, it was called back in 2009, I think, when this game came out. I picked it up back in the beginning, right after launch. The reason why I stopped playing this game back when it was still a subscription MMO was quite simply because it was not friendly to altaholics. You had an 8-character limit per account. 8 characters. So, you could have one of every class on only one of the 2 factions. Once I found out about that, and that the folks behind this game weren't interested in at least increasing that limit to 16, I stopped playing the game. Talk about a really stupid reason for me to stop playing an RPG. Now that the game's free to play, they still haven't taken off that 8-character limit. And what's more, even with the game being free to play, you still have only one. You can still only have one Ion account per NCSoft Master account. So the workaround, if you as an altaholic want one of each class in both factions in this game, is to create a second NCSoft Master account just to play the other faction in Ion. Then make another Ion account on that account, and then make all your other characters on there. Stupid. Why couldn't they have just made it 16 characters per account? That would have saved a lot of trouble. Final Fantasy XIV sounded interesting that you could change classes just by changing your weapon, and it was a Final Fantasy game. So I picked it up. I didn't get the collector's edition, but I did get this game right as it launched, the minute this version of the game became available. And I was thoroughly disappointed, like many other people who saw the complete train wreck that this game was at launch. This game was such a disaster that Square Enix kept extending the trial period over and over and over again, and I never once paid a subscription fee for this game, from the time I bought it to the time I uninstalled it. I think they're charging subscription fees now as they're continuing to work on actually making this game playable for the Final Fantasy XIV 2.0, or as Stafa called it, Final Fantasy XIV 2 release coming up later this year. But, oh man, talk about a disappointment. And even as a grindy MMO, it wasn't all that great, because in the forest part where I started my character out, it was so repetitive. I mean, what a joke. This game was probably one of the biggest disappointments the online RPG world has ever seen. Little wonder subscription MMOs are barely holding on these days when dreck like this gets released. Maybe the relaunch will be more interesting, and I'll actually check it out when it relaunches, but until then, forget it. Warhammer Online, Age of Reckoning. This talk about a potential WoW killer that got stomped into the dirt by Blizzard. This game has suffered from a lot of problems. First, it was released in a rather unfinished state. Only two of the six factions actually had capital cities, and some of the types of characters you could make, you couldn't make certain archetypes with. For example, when the game launched, there was no dwarf DPS warrior type character. until they released that later on. There's just too much that wasn't in the original game that they wound up releasing later on. And this game just never had a chance, because even as they released it in a buggy, sloppy, unfinished state, World of Warcraft, Blizzard took a lot of the things that this game brought to the table and they incorporated into WoW and defeated the purpose of people getting this game. For example, healers that can actually fight. Back when this game was in development, healers in World of Warcraft were pretty much useless if they weren't healing somebody. But then you get these YouTube videos by I think it's Barnett, I think his name was. He's like, there are no nampy-pompy healer-only classes. Everyone does damage. Everyone fights in Warhammer. And I guess somebody finally caught that. Someone heard about that at Blizzard, and next thing you know, free spell damage for healers. And there was a time in Burning Crusade when some types of healer characters were actually doing burst damage in PvP, like Shakadins and Smite Priests. So Blizzard actually went a little overboard with bringing that everybody fights thing into that game, and they haven't stopped since. Now they've got Smite healers with Discipline Priests and Cataclysm, and we're going to have Mistweaver monks and Mists of Pandaria that can fight stuff and heal people while they're fighting stuff. So this poor game. Did this Warhammer game ever break 1 million active users? It's sad. I think they're down to like one server for the US, one for Germany, one for, I don't know. But this poor game never had a chance. And in this day and age where everybody's trying to revitalize old MMOs by making them free to play, this thing's still a subscription game. Oh, thou Warhammer, where hast thou faileth us? I don't know. I'm not very Shakespearean. Anywho, and before there was 14, there was 11. I tried Final Fantasy XI after having some friends in college playing this right before I graduated. It was the first MMO that I ever actually saw in action, because interestingly enough, I never met any EverQuest geeks when I was in college, but I eventually decided to check this game out. But unfortunately, the reason why I stopped playing it was because the billing system was clunky. You had the Play Online Master account, which could invalidate your game if you ever uninstalled it. And then you had the other stuff. You know, there were situations where people were invalidating their game and having to buy a second copy of the game because they canceled their Play Online account instead of the game account. It was just confusing. Plus, even though this is a PC game, and with console ports, the PC version's controls were catered more towards using a controller. So I was reading about how terrible the controls were, and then I found out, you know what? They're based on controllers. So if I plug in a USB controller, I can just play it like it's on a console, and that's basically how I managed to play this game. Unfortunately, the game mechanics are too old. This is a first-generation MMO where you have a huge grind. This was a first-generation MMO where you have a huge grind. You can't solo past a certain level. So, with the hit-or-miss things that I've been running into with people playing MMOs, I didn't really want to have to get groups together in order to do anything in this game, so I eventually stopped playing it. And now we saved the best for last, EverQuest II. I was curious about playing at least one game in the EverQuest series, given how insanely addictive EverQuest I was. EverQuest, the original EverQuest, was World of Warcraft before World of Warcraft is World of Warcraft. I remember watching tech TV shows and like extended play with Adam Sessler and you know, Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb. I'd be like, yeah, those darn EverQuest players never get out of their parents' basements and stuff like that. Fun stuff. So I decided to check out the sequel when I got the chance. And sadly, here's the problem with EverQuest II. It came out around the same time as World of Warcraft. But whereas other games copy stuff from WoW to try and be successful, but some stupid thing is the reason why they don't take off, this game seems to not have copied very much, even though it had the opportunity to do even basic things to make itself better. Let's fire the game up. This game's now free to play these days, and I downloaded it again on Steam and fired it up. And sadly, not much has changed in the past 5 years or however long it's been since I last tried playing this game. Right, so here's the Paladin I created last time I had a subscription account with this game. I'm surprised I can still play it in free-to-play mode. But look at this. Look at how the guy scurries around all over the place like something out of a cartoon. I mean, even Guild Wars gets running better than this. Then, of course... Oh. Okay, maybe not all the time, but when I was playing this last night, the guy was going hoot, hoot, hoot every time he jumped. Just like an old school first-person shooter. You ever see that first-person shooters in real life video type thing? I mean, I don't know. Let's try it. Let's try fighting a badger. Attack? Yeah. See, the problem with this game is it hasn't changed very much. Let's try. The problem with this game is it's had all this time to get updated. It looks almost like Active Worlds or Second Life rather than a video game. I mean, they couldn't... Why is he not attacking? Oh. Yay, cool. Beat up badgers with my foam sword and garbage can lid shield. Yeah, nice epic hero there. Anywho, I think I've had about enough of this game. Here's another thing that really dates this game. All the loading screens. I want to go to the harbor. Oh, loading screen. Even Guild Wars has less loading screens than this. Well, at least you'll get the, oh, here we are in the harbor. Oh, I want to go back. I forgot something. Loading screen. But at least you'll get the theme of the loading music stuck in your head after X amount of time. But, oh, look, another nag message to upgrade my subscription. See, the sad part is this game had lots of opportunities to improve itself. It had lots of opportunities to polish itself up as the years have gone by, and I just don't see that here. So, you know, I'll keep this game around as just something I've got with my Steam installation in case I ever get curious about it again. But oh, wait, what's this? Another loading screen to go back to the forest that I came from. So I'll keep this game around just as a curiosity in case I ever want to play it again. But I just can't for the life of me see how do you get... Oh, you have to right-click, click gather. Oh, inventory's full. I don't know. I'll keep it around just for the heck of it, but I don't really see myself playing this game very much because of these silly little things here. So, is there any hope for alternative online RPGs? Yes, there is. All these ones that are messing around with free-to-play models remind me of the one alternative RPG that I've been playing ever since launch, on a somewhat regular basis. Guild Wars. Yeah. This, I think, is kind of the grandpappy of all these free-to-play MMOs. You buy the game, and then you pay for, you pay for stuff later on if you want it. Like virtual items and things like that. I bought a couple of things that ArenaNet has put on sale here. I can only imagine that all of these free-to-play games with, you can play the game for free, but then if you want like better stuff for your player house or something like that, then you go to like a real money marketplace or something to buy. Virtual goods and things like that. I imagine it probably at least somewhat ties back to this game. And in terms of breaking the muck, or getting out of the doldrums of repetitive, everybody wants to be World of Warcraft MMOs, I think Guild Wars is where the answer is probably going to be, because of Guild Wars 2, a game that can't be released fast enough. Go, ArenaNet, go! I'm very much looking forward to Guild Wars 2, because the original these Guild Wars games tend to be like anti-MMOs, and the original Guild Wars was like an anti-EverQuest. I can only imagine if they pull this off successfully with Guild Wars 2, Guild Wars 2 will be the anti-WoW and really give Blizzard a run for their money. So I'm actually thinking of pre-purchasing this game so I can get in on the beta and have a little fun before the game launches. So, I don't know. This game can't come out fast enough. This is probably the game that I'm anticipating the most for 2012. But yeah, Guild Wars 2, awesome. Can't wait. So hopefully the online RPG world can get out of the doldrums here, and hopefully I get over this summer cold, or June bug as I call it, as quickly as I can, so we can get this disturbing trend series over and done with, and I can post a link for everyone on my blog who wants to listen to all the episodes and stuff like that. But anyways, until next time, this is MultimediaJay. Peace out, everybody. Geek out. See you next time, folks.